Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie The Bikeriders. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So The Bikeriders is a crime drama film written and directed by Jeff Nichols. Stars Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, and Michael Shannon. The plot is inspired by the photo book of the same name by Danny Lyon. It depicts the lives of the fictional Vandals MC, which is a fictional version of the Outlaw Motorcycle Club, founded in the late 60s in Chicago. As far as what I liked about the movie, overall the cast was great. I really liked Jodie Comer in here as Kathy. Austin Butler as Benny was good as well. Tom Hardy's always fun. He was in here as Johnny. I enjoyed him. I always like Michael Shannon. He shows up in all of Jeff Nichols' movies, so he was really good as Zipco. Mike Faist, good as well. Norman Reedus, always funny. He played a cool character, and I know he's into motorcycles in real life. So when he showed up, I was like, oh, hey, yeah, okay. Boyd Holbrook, I like that guy a lot. So he showed up. I liked him as well. And Damon Harriman from Justified. And he played Charlie Manson in a Tarantino movie, I think, and in Mindhunters. But anyway, overall cast is good. I like a lot of these guys. A couple of them are from Justified. Boyd Holbrook was in Justified too. So yeah, great stuff, good stuff. They seem like they're all having a fun. They're having a good time. I think the cinematography was well done. It's by a guy named Adam Stone, who works on all of Nichols' movies, Take Shelter, Midnight Special. He also did The Hunt. I'm not sure what that is, but okay. Music was by David Wingo. He again works with Jeff Nichols a lot, and so he did Take Shelter, Midnight Special, and he did The Exorcist Believer, the most recent Exorcist movie that came out. I didn't see that, but yeah, great soundtrack in here. A lot of cool '60s and '70s songs. We got like Talking About You by the Animals, I Feel Free by Cream, I'm Going Home by the Sonics, Down on the Street by the Stooges, Muddy Waters, Shangri-La's, like a bunch of cool stuff in there. I really appreciated the music, and it's a lot of cool stuff. Again, not super popular stuff you hear all the time. Like I actually just found out about the Sonics pretty recently. So yeah, it was cool to hear them. I'm like, oh hey, there's the Sonics. All right, nice. Cool band. And overall, I think that they did a really good job with costumes and with the set design and the decor and stuff. Everything looked very late 60s, 70s to me. I really liked, the motorcycle memorabilia, what do you call it, paraphernalia, the leather jackets and the patches and all that. The tattoos look good. Did a good job with it. And for the most part, I think everyone looked pretty believably, biker like. Norman Reedus had like the dirty, gross, disgusting teeth and all that. Like really added to the character. That was cool. I really like the humor. There were some very funny moments in this. A couple things that made me laugh out loud for sure. I think the overall vibe is kind of cool. It's like early biker gang kind of stuff. I like stuff, little details like how they kind of formed the club based on like the Wild Bunch with Marlon Brando, stuff like that, which seems totally believable and realistic and kind of way that guys really kind of think in a lot of ways. And I think the overall story is pretty interesting, knowing about one of these kind of early biker gangs, maybe not the first necessarily, but one of the first, and at least the first in their area, and sort of hearing the story of how they started and how it sort of I guess got worse, how the club sort of fell apart over time. It was an interesting enough story. I enjoyed it, and I liked the setting and all of that, so that was pretty good. As far as what I disliked about the movie, the accents I think were not great. I know Jodie Comer is probably one who has the most lines in this, and she's a British actress. She's from Liverpool, I think, but her accent's okay. But to me, it's a little more like North Dakota, Minnesota than Chicago. But I mean, I'm not an expert in Chicago accents, and it may have been more pronounced back in the '60s or something like that. I think these days Chicago is a little more homogenized. But and I think Ed Hardy is doing an interesting voice. It's actually not terrible to me, but it is sort of cartoonish and weird. And I think Austin Butler's not really doing a Chicago accent at all. And I know people keep like making fun of him for still trying to sound like Elvis, and other people say, no, he doesn't. What are you talking about? And I do think he's not exactly doing an Elvis impression. He's not doing like, oh, yeah. But he's definitely got that sort of deepness to his voice that Elvis has. And maybe that's just something that happened naturally because he was fairly young. But I can definitely see how there's, and he sort of still has kind of the similar hairstyle in a way. Like yeah, I feel like it's not that different from his Elvis performance. He's not doing the mannerisms, not pretending to be Elvis or anything like that. But I can see why people say he still kind of sounds like Elvis. I get where they're coming from there. And I really think I like Austin Butler. I think his portrayal was good. I think he's a good actor, but the character is a twat. He sucks. He's lame. He early on in the movie, well, they show me he's getting beaten up by the guys, and it's like, okay, this is cool. Like I get this guy. He doesn't he's not afraid of anything. You know what I mean? Like okay, that's admirable. Like I kind of get that. But then like he speeds through school zones, which I'm like, that's lame as fuck, dude. Come on, what are you doing? You're speeding through school zones? Like, what is that? You know? And then he's boring. He doesn't have, I mean, he's quick to anger. He's not a good conversationalist. He's not very smart. He's not talented in any way. Like he's not a good painter or the songwriter, or he doesn't write poems or anything. So I'm like, what's the appeal to this guy? I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand why women like Austin Butler, but like the character is lame. Like they could have given him more to do. Like he's also kind of a stalker. Like he just shows up at her house and like stalks her, and then her dad like doesn't confront him about it. He just yells and gets mad at her for it, which is like just annoying to deal with. And then they say like, oh, nobody likes him because he drops his bike all the time. He's always falling off his bike. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then she gets on his bike. And I'm like, well, maybe that's not a safe place to go with this guy who's always driving. But then they never show him fall off the bike that I remember. Did he? I don't remember him ever falling off the bike. So oh, that guy, he falls off his bike every time he gets on it. And then they never show him fall off the bike at all. So I'm like, okay, what? I don't understand that. There's also this kind of thing where like they show as the club goes on, and the young bloods come in, the new guys come in, and they're a little different. They do the hardcore drugs, and they take the rules a little more seriously, and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, the club has changed. Now it used to be. I'm like, well, yeah, but you guys burned down that bar like right away. Like early days of your club, you burned down that dude's bar, and like that dude didn't do anything wrong, really. If anything, Benny was kind of in the wrong. And granted, the guys were overly aggressive with him, but if there's a rule in the bar you can't wear motorcycle colors, then you can't wear motorcycle colors. And there's a lot of bars do that, and there's a reason why they do that. It makes sense. Also, I think the movie's just kind of boring. I found myself bored often during the movie. It's a little longer than it needs to be. There's kind of a lot going on. And I like Kathy. I like Jodie Comer. I think she's a good actress. I like her portrayal, but she's pretty much the only woman who has any lines of dialogue. I think there is one line that Johnny's wife says, like right before he dies, which is kind of an interesting thing. Like, she's like, go buy some eggs or whatever. And he's like, okay. And she like doesn't even look at him or acknowledge him. That was kind of interesting. That was something, but I don't remember her talking at all for the rest of the movie. And it's like, okay, does Kathy not have any friends? Does she have family members she could talk to? What about the other women in the club? There are other women in the club. You see them occasionally in the background, acting as lampshades essentially. But like, I'm like, wait, that's tight. That woman looks cool. Like, what's her deal? Like, let's hear about her. Does she, are they friends? Do they talk about stuff? I don't know why. It seemed a little odd just to completely ignore the women. And of course, there's even a scene in this. I say of course because it's just so stereotypically bad, out of date writing where like, oh, there's a scene where she almost gets sexually assaulted, and it's like, I'm sure that kind of stuff happened all the time back then. I'm sure it still happens nowadays, but it's just like, okay, yeah, I feel like it happens in movies a lot where I'm just like, all right, guys, maybe can we find other, we don't have to always, it doesn't always have to be a plot point in every movie. Not that it is, but it seems like it comes up a lot. And so, yeah, I also think that the movie itself, to me, just in a lot of ways feels like it was made like in the 60s, just by the way, the underrepresentation of the women and how badly that they're written and everything. And it's like, I don't know. Also, these guys are lame, and I don't really like any of them. I like Johnny. I liked what's his name's character, but other than that, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I think I just really didn't like Benny, and I think it was really just the speeding in the school zone thing pissed me off. I'm like, oh, this guy sucks. Fuck this guy. Yeah. Other than that, movie is directed by Jeff Nichols. He did Take Shelter, Midnight Special, Loving, and Mud. I actually forgot he did Mud. And it was written by Jeff Nichols. He writes all the stuff that he directs, so he wrote all that stuff. It was based on the book by the same name by Danny Lyon, which is just sort of a picture book. Budget on this one was $30 to $40 million. So far, it's made about 14 million. 9.7 of that was domestic, which is about what they expected. This isn't the kind of movie they expect to make money. This is more of a prestige kind of movie that they're, Oscar kind of stuff, I assume. Rotten Tomatoes, and this is good, man. Critics are liking it at 81%. Audience is not quite as hot, at 75%. So still, most people seem to be liking it. Jeff Nichols was supposed to do A Quiet Place day one, which actually comes out like next week, I think. So it's kind of interesting. But he left that to do this instead. And he's been wanting to make this movie for a long time, apparently. I know he always works with Michael Shannon. This is like their sixth project together, I think. And Michael Shannon said, God, he's been wanting to make this damn movie for forever. So yeah, that was fun. I did like Michael Shannon's character in this a lot. Yeah, the biker gang that inspired this, the Outlaws, still exists as of 2024, and they're sort of a rival gang to the Hells Angels, which is, I assume, I'm pretty sure a California-based gang, right? The movie does begin with a disclaimer. It says that it's inspired by real people, but it's not based on a true story, which always kind of bothers me with like a biopic or something that's based on a historical thing or real life is when they make stuff up, you know. And in this case, I appreciate them being honest about it at the beginning, but I'm like, well, if you're gonna make stuff up, why don't you make people more interesting then? Particularly Benny. Like literally all you gotta do is just make him good at painting. You know what I mean? Like give him something, some redeeming characteristic to make me like this guy, other than he's an idiot. And I don't know. So I think it's just a thing. I'm like, okay, because and I was expecting more to happen. I was expecting like, oh, Sonny Funny, Norman Reedus's character, he's an undercover Fed or something like that, or no, it didn't really happen. I mean, the thing with the new kid coming along and doing it, that was kind of interesting, and I think that part is maybe true. Again, I'm not exactly sure. I started reading through an article on it, and it was I didn't care enough to finish it, honestly. But yeah, I think I wanted to like this movie, but I think part of me too, I'm just not a big fan of motorcycle clubs in general. I think I kind of grew up around them and just always thought they were kind of lame. So maybe it's just my own kind of biases coming out here. But I didn't really love this movie. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. I mean, I don't regret seeing it, and I think I would recommend it if you like motorcycle movies or you like Jeff Nichols or any of the actors involved. The performances are good, but I don't think I'd rewatch this movie. I don't think I'd want to see it again anytime soon. So my score is going to be a 6 out of 10. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. But yeah, not great, not bad, just kind of just okay. So yeah, but if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.